What is going on, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. Today we have got some NVIDIA RTX 4000 rumors when the cards will be releasing, thanks to famed leaker Greymon55. Also, Elden Ring, which is launching later today. Technically, they say it's tomorrow, but it comes out 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's getting a day one patch, which should help with some of the performance issues that were reported by reviewers that got early copies of the game. And we'll also take a look at the graphics settings that are going to be available in Elden Ring, the latest game from Software. So stay tuned and we'll get right into it. But first, today's video is brought to you by Primetecmart.com, where you can save money on software like Windows 10 Pro licenses for under $25. They've also got Windows 10 Home for under $20, and now Windows 11 Pro you can grab over on Primetecmart.com. They've also got Office 2019 and the new Office 2021. And if you want to save an additional 20% at checkout on Windows 10 or any other software, go ahead and click Buy It Now, and during the checkout process, go ahead and put JP20 in and apply that coupon, and that'll give you 20% off of any software that you happen to pick up over there. So for Windows 10 Pro, you can see it dropped our price down from $24.46 to under $20. So be sure to hit up the links down in the description below, and don't forget to use my coupon code JP20 at checkout for an additional 20% off. First up, let's talk about the RTX 4000 series of GPUs. Obviously, most of you out there probably weren't able to get your hands on an RTX 30 series card, although it was a very good generational improvement over the RTX 20 series. They just ended up being nearly impossible to find because of a variety of factors. Miners initially were kind of the main crux of the issue, and then, the pandemic and just shortages all over the place for pretty much every type of good being sold in the world. There's shortages, high prices for everything, gas, food. I even just bought some chicken the other day at the grocery store, and it was like double the price of what I remember it being a year or two ago. So everything's being increased in price around the world. And, with things like that, it kind of makes it hard to justify going out and spending nearly $1,000 on a graphics card where you would normally expect the price point to be somewhere around below $500 maybe. So, yeah, very hard to get your hands on cards. Hopefully by September, though, maybe they'll figure out the supply issues, as that is when the RTX 4000 series is rumored to be releasing, which would kind of line up with what we've seen in the past few GPU releases from NVIDIA. Typically, we see an announcement around August or so, and then that gets released in September. So NVIDIA is basically due to come out with a new series of graphics cards. These will be based on the Lovelace architecture. Obviously, right now we're on Ampere. And the source of this leak is Greymon55, as I stated at the start of the video. He's a famed leaker. He's been right in the past many, many times, although obviously there's some stuff that he's been wrong about, but, also that could just be, maybe things changed or got delayed and moved and pushed back. But typically NVIDIA does launch around September, so it's not that far-fetched that Greymon55 is likely right about when we're going to be seeing the Lovelace GPUs becoming available on the market. And obviously people have already still been waiting to hear about the 3090 Ti, even though most people probably won't be able to get it anyway. And it's kind of more of a pointless upgrade, honestly, over the RTX 3090. I just think it's another way of them kind of clearing inventory before the 4000 series comes out, but I don't really think they'd have an issue with that anyway. They could have just released them as 3090 cards, and, it would have been absolutely fine, as obviously every graphics card that comes out is being snatched up like hotcakes. Although some prices have started to come down and availability has improved on some graphics cards, mostly AMD. I have seen some improvements in the stock from AMD and pricing sort of coming down pretty close to what MSRP should be, but the NVIDIA cards are still quite dear. But as I said, hopefully by September, when these cards come out, maybe they'll get it sorted out and pandemic will be coming to a close. Hopefully, fingers crossed on that. Hopefully things just start to get a lot better by the end of the year, because I am kind of sick of paying $3.60 a gallon for regular gas. It's pretty nuts. That gas is as much as it is, and just a couple of years ago it was down just below $2, at least where I happen to live, where the gas taxes are like some of the highest in the country in the state of New Jersey. So I want this to the prices on the GPUs to come down as well. Gas prices too would be nice. But NVIDIA is also reportedly tooling up to the tune of $10 billion on the tooling that they need to basically manufacture the 4000 series GPUs. So hopefully that spells that they'll have a good enough stock and inventory when these cards come out in September, rumored obviously, so take that all with a grain of salt. Next up, let's talk about Elden Ring, which is coming out at 6 p.m. Eastern Time tonight on February 24th, as of the time that I am releasing this video. And I have made it no secret that I am not a huge fan of the From Software Souls-like type of games, the Dark Souls, Demon Souls. Not a huge fan of these, like, extremely, I hate to say difficult, because that's a word that's constantly thrown around. It's like, oh, get good, bro. The games are just hard. Like, no, I don't really think they're that hard. I just think they're frustrating. I think their lack of, like, a proper save and checkpoint system like we're accustomed to in most games just makes it frustrating to have to go backtrack and go through an area all over again, and only to be just one hit by some enemy out of nowhere, and then you lost 2-3 hours of progress. That kind of thing just frustrates me. That doesn't make it harder. It makes it more frustrating, and I just think that's kind of silly. I think there's no reason that the game can't be difficult without making adjustments to that, tiny thing there, and have a proper checkpoint and save system. But from what I've heard, Elden Ring actually is a little bit easier, or a little bit more approachable, as it's going to be an open world title. So I'll definitely check it out. I will try the game out, and we'll probably do a performance video for this tomorrow. And there has been some reported issues with the performance, not perfect by any means, some frame rate drops, even on the consoles with, performance modes, which usually we see pretty much at a locked 60 frames per second on most titles, with only a few hitches here or there. There's actually a lot of hitches, and the frame rate is unlocked, so even on the fidelity or the graphics modes, it's not locked to 30. It'll run like 35 to 40 FPS. So playing that on a TV, if you don't have variable refresh rate or something, can definitely be a less than great experience. But thankfully, there's going to be a day one patch coming in at 13 gigabytes in size, which they say will fix frame rate drops. And in the full patch notes here, we can see that it has improved player controls, additional and adjustments of BGM, text adjustments, ballot adjustments, NPC event fixes and adjustments, fixed frame rate drops under certain condition, fixed test bug in some languages, and also fixed a bug that prevented the Xbox wireless headset from working properly, although obviously that's not going to really be something that you would be concerned about on the PC version of the game, which I hear the draw distance on the game is pretty good, but it has some odd frame rate drops here or there. So yeah, hopefully with this day one patch, things are a little bit better. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, as I did not get an early code for Elden Ring. So we're going to have to wait for tomorrow to do a video on it with update 1.02. And also they are saying that ray tracing will eventually come to the game, although it does not appear to be in the game at launch, nor does NVIDIA's DLSS or AMD FSR, which would have been nice to see one, if not both of those technologies built into the game for people on lower-end GPUs that might need to take advantage of that for higher resolutions. We can get a quick look here at the graphics options that are available in the game, which were published earlier this week, even ahead of launch. So we can see here that they've got texture quality in there, anti-aliasing, screen space, ambient occlusion, depth of field, motion blur, which can thankfully be disabled. And even this person for the screenshot here does have it turned off, because motion blur is terrible, objectively. Shadow quality, lighting quality, effects, volumetrics, reflections, water surface quality, shader quality, global illumination, and grass quality rounds out the graphics options list. So not the most extensive or detailed graphics option menu that I've seen before, but also not the most minimal like I've seen in some other titles, which might only have 1 or 2 options or just a preset or something. So there's a decent amount of options there. Hopefully people will be able to get those dialed in and sort of adjust graphics settings to get it run properly on their hardware. But stay tuned for a video tomorrow, as I'll be doing a dive into this, doing a port report. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you tomorrow for another video where we'll be making Chick-fil-A scrambled eggs. Maybe. It's an idea. Catch you then. Ta-ra.